Okay, everyone, so we're now ready to dimension our baseplate drawing. So I have the part done, and I just completed the center marks. First thing you want to do is switch your layer now to dimension. Okay, and all of the dimension tools are on the annotation toolbar. So we've used draw toolbar, we've used modify toolbar, now we're going to use annotation. The main dimension is called linear. That's for horizontal and vertical dimensions. If you hit the arrow next to linear, there's a lot of other options that we can use too. Like for instance, we'll need an angular dimension on this one. Later on, when we have some drawings that have circles, we'll use radius and diameter. Also, make sure you have your packet out because basically, we want to replicate this. We have all the dimensions on here that we need. So we're trying to replicate this and communicate this part to somebody who would maybe manufacture this. Okay, I'm going to start with the dimensions on the top, which are linear dimensions, the 4 1/4 and the 1 1/2. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Now, when you do the 4 1/4, it's from the left edge to the middle of the part. So I'm actually going to click this left corner right here. You can see how it snaps right to it with the end point. I'm going to click there, and I'm going to click right here where the center mark meets the part. I click again, and I can just drag this dimension now up and to the left. Now remember, the spacing should be 3/8 of away from the part. So that's going to look like this. If I go up, so I can kind of see my grid, I'm up, that's 1/4 of an inch, and the next half grid would be 3/8 of an inch. Also, notice how even though I clicked the corner of the part, AutoCAD automatically leaves that little space at the end. Remember when we sketched these by hand, I told everyone not to connect this. AutoCAD does that for you, even though you click the corner. And it adds the space to the end, puts a nice arrow on there, and the dimension in the middle. All right, I'm going to do the 1 1/2 dimension, which would be from right here to this corner. Bring that up. Again, same spacing before, 3/8 of an inch. There's a 2 1/2 dimension over here from the middle of the part here to the top of the part. I'm going to drag that out to the left. Again, go out 3/8 of an inch. So it's kind of like 1, 2, 3 snaps because each snap is 1/8 of an inch. There's some dimensions in the middle of the part, the 3, the 1, and the 3/4. So from here I can go a dimension from, let's say, 1, 2, 3 up here, and then I'm going to go over. One thing you want to be careful of is if I select this dimension, or if I zoom in here, you see there's a lot of green showing. You want to try to minimize that if you can on the inside dimension. So I can click this, and I can move the grips. This bottom grip, I can move it up to here. And notice the difference between the left side and the right side. See, there's a lot more green on this side. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to move this grip up to here. Now you might still see a little green, that's okay. So I got 3. I'm going to go from here to here, which is 1. Another dimension from here to here is 0.75. Okay, there's also some dimensions on the bottom here. I have to do this 2 1/4. So from this part to right here, that's the length of the angle. And again, I want to go down 1, 2, 3 snaps, which is 3/8 of an inch. I need to do the 8 1/2, which is my total length. So from that corner to this corner. Now from here, I want to go down 3/8 of an inch from the 2 1/4. So I want to go down 1, 2, 3. Put that one here. If you find that you're not centered perfect, you can always select the dimension, click the grip, and you can move it. There's a 5-inch dimension on the right side from the very top to the very bottom. I'm going to drag that out. So dimensioning, once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. It's nice. AutoCAD leaves the space for you. It draws in the extension line. I believe there's a 2-inch dimension right here, here to here. And again, you're clicking the corners. AutoCAD will automatically leave the little space for you. And then finally, this 1-inch dimension from here to there. Okay, the last dimension is going to be the angular dimension. So that one, so to this point, we've only used linear. Now I'm going to switch it to angular, click angular, and watch how I do this. I'm going to click on my angle first, then I'm going to click the bottom of the part, and I'm going to drag this out to the right, or to the left, sorry, and you can kind of eyeball about where where you're coming over here, about right about there. Now that we have the part dimensioned, we're ready to set it up in a title block. So if we were going to print this drawing, it would be set to go. To set it up to print, you're going to use the layouts. So model space, again, that's where you do your drawing, all your work. 95% of your work is done in model space. That's where you create the geometry, you dimension it, any changes that need to be done, or if you need to fix or correct something, it's done in model space. To print it, to set it up, you use the paper space. So this is paper space, and this is model space. So know the difference between those two. For this one, we're going to use ANSI B. ANSI A is 8.5 by 11. ANSI B is 11 by 17. You see a title block here. We'll fill that out here in a second. First thing we need to do, though, is get our drawing on the paper space. You'll notice this red box around here. That's called a viewport. So we need to put our drawing into the viewport. And actually, it's in there. We just got to find it. So what you need to do is I'm going to double click inside the viewport. When you do that, you notice how the viewport is now selected. See how it's highlighted? It's a little bit thicker. After you select the viewport, you want to double click the wheel on your mouse. And remember, the wheel on the mouse does a zoom all. So there's our part. We want to make it a little bit bigger. In fact, we want to make this exactly 1:1 scale. So if you look right here on the bottom right, my scale is currently set to 1.046. If I click the arrow next to it, I want to make it exactly 1:1. Okay? Now, if we were doing a half scale, I would set it to a half scale. I can do a quarter scale. I can make it bigger too. I could do like a 2:1 scale, would make it twice the size. But for this one, it'll work really nice at 1:1. Center it a little bit by panning. Make sure you don't hit the wheel though, or else you'll have to come back here and set it back to 1:1. Once you have it set, it's centered, you double click in the gray space to get out of the viewport. See, now when I zoom, I have the entire sheet. And last, you're going to want to fill in your title block. All you have to do is edit the X's. So I go under a course, I double click the X's, and it'll let me edit. So I can type in CAD 1, all capital letters. Drawn by, you're going to type in your name, all capital letters. Period, whatever period you're in. We'll just say 0. Your seat number, which is on the upper right-hand corner of your computer monitor. So I'll just say 1. But that will be different for everybody. Drawing number. Keep up to date with the drawings. They're all labeled in your packet. Base plate is number 1. Adjusting arm is number 2, 3, 4. They're all going to be labeled with the correct drawing number. So make sure you're putting in the correct drawing number. So this one, I'm going to double click here. 1. Scale. We just need to change those X's to be 1:1. Now, if we were doing 1:2, we would type 1:2. Title of the drawing. Base plate. Again, make sure you're typing this in all capital letters. Today's date happens to be the 27th, so I'm going to do October 27th, 20. And that's it. I just click. Once I have it done, I can hit escape. Now I have a completed drawing with dimensions and a title block filled out.